From my last game development video, I received a crazy amount of support. I can't thank you all enough, and I'm gonna continue making videos and working on my skills. So I hope you'll enjoy my progress from here on. Now, since my first video, I've been endlessly grinding game development. Okay, I haven't done an insane amount, but I've still been practicing and improving my knowledge of scripting. I'm glad to see you guys enjoyed the last dumpster fire of a game I made, and hopefully I'll be able to make better things soon. Now, originally this video was supposed to be a devlog working on a new game, but I ended up forgetting about something really important. I've always loved the idea of VFX in games. You could argue that it's pretty much the heart and soul of most modern fighting games on Roblox. It's been pretty crazy witnessing how developers have completely evolved VFX over the years, when back then it looked like this. Nowadays, the main form of VFX comes from the use of particle emitters, which is what I'm trying to learn with this challenge. As VFX is an art, going into this I feel like it's going to be pretty difficult for me, because I've never really been the art type. For this challenge I'm using two plugins, VFX Suite and Zanito Visuals. Both of them cost money, but you don't really need either of them. There are many alternatives to VFX Suite, and for Zanito Visuals you can find a lot of textures in the toolbox. Currently, the main advantage of Zanito Visuals is that it has a lot of really high quality flipbook textures, which can be hard to come by sometimes. Zanito is a name you might hear a few times in this video, because the main method of learning I'm going to use is by observing their open sources among others. Big thanks to them, as this video would have been much harder to make without them. I'm going to cover each day individually for the first week, but summarize the following weeks, because otherwise the video would be half an hour long. Now, without further delay, let's begin. On day 1, I build a simple system that showcases VFX on the client, and you can customize whether the particles are emitted or enabled. I experimented with what I already knew about VFX to make this. It's pretty good if I do say so myself. Originally, I wanted to delay the swirl in the middle, but I don't know how to do that yet. Also, for some reason, the flipbook was more pixelated than I expected. On day 2, I analyzed a great explosion effect by Zanito, picking up information on the way. I then decided on a water explosion as the effect. I tried replicating a few things I had seen, like the instant flares before the explosion, the background glow, rainbow glares, and using two colors for the same particle. It took about 30 minutes, and this is how it turned out. I think I might have misplaced the rainbow glares, and I still didn't really know how to use the Z offset very well. Judging the effect overall, it's still it's not very good. On day 3, I started by trying to recreate the tailwind effect in Jose's Frigid Rush. There are a lot of little things that I got wrong that I just didn't know how to fix at the time, but overall I think I did alright. I had a lot of time that day, so I decided to challenge myself with an animation alongside VFX. I made a great sword animation in Moon Animator before working on the VFX. In the Frigid Rush, I tried to replicate that 1-star effect for the wind-up to the explosion. Initially the explosion looked really bad when I made it, but by adding more variety, envelope, and an extra black color scheme, it looked great in the end. Overall, I'm really satisfied with the result, and I'm not sure how I'm going to make something to compare to it in a while. At the start of day 4, I analyzed an open source fireball, and then tried making my own. I couldn't manage to make it look good when it moved around, which is sort of the point of a fireball, and there were a few things that I didn't know how to get right, but I think it turned out looking good overall. Later that day, I made a fire explosion, and for some reason it felt kinda off. I'm not entirely sure why. Sorry for sounding dead in that last clip. Anyway, on day 5 I didn't really know what to make. I tried experimenting with and learning subtle wind effects, but didn't really get anywhere. On day 6 I wanted to experiment a bit with light. I think the flare was okay, but I definitely need to work on my debris. On the final day of week 1, I was determined to actually make real progress with wind particles, and I think I did okay. Wait a minute.
By pretty fast, I mean like within 5 hours, I guess.
For the first week learning VFX, I think I did a pretty good job. Moving forward, I noticed that there's a lot more to VFX than just particle emitters. In the new light showcase of Elemental Warzone, I noticed Jen used this. I'm not sure if it's a bunch of beams mixed together or an actual part, but I've realized that those things are just as important as particles for most games with combat elements, because I've been noticing more and more non-particle based VFX in the games I've been playing recently. Despite this, I have no idea where to begin with learning them. Alright, week 2's done and I'm going to showcase everything I did. Now on the first day I made 2 slashing effects, and I think they look really good. Then I made 2 charged attacks with a galaxy theme. I think at this stage I was really starting to grasp particle emitters. Then on day 3 I made 5 effects for rarity. Common, rare, epic, legendary, and
Mythical.
mythical. On the 4th day, I experimented with lightning. I made a storm cloud and an explosion from particles, but I used a script for the lightning strikes. The first effect was the one I made, and the second one was just me trying to recreate another effect from a different game. And yeah, I did not cook with this. The next day I tried to recreate the fireball from that one open source from memory, and I think I did a pretty good job of it. On day 6 I made another fire explosion. I think it looks a lot cleaner than the one I made last week. Later on I decided to utilize the explosion effect in a custom move centered around slashes and fire. Finally, on the last day I made...
You never see it coming.
Same thing as last week. On day 1 of week 3, I made a dash effect in some kind of light thing. I don't even know what to call it. At this stage, I was sort of running out of ideas, so I asked my friend for some advice.
So, there's this guy, and he's got like a sword, and then like slashes the air, and it leaves like a sort of like after slash.
Yeah.
And then after like a few seconds, it like opens up, and then it goes like a bang.
Using this incredibly detailed prompt and newfound inspiration, I created probably my best work of week 3. The 3rd day I made a blue flamethrower, and the next day I decided to tone things down a bit to get some technical practice. I made a parry or weapon clashing effect. The next day I played a game called Mountfall Descent, which had a very simplistic yet effective particle art style. I tried making a few things using the game as inspiration, and surprisingly this was the first time I used squares. On the second last day I practiced layers with the fire effect, and then went back to the anime art style with a bright red star. On the final day I used the star to make a move, but I honestly feel a bit unsatisfied with it. On another note, I'm really happy with how I've developed my skills over the past few weeks. Now I should be able to make some nice abilities and effects for you guys in my upcoming projects. If I can even remember how to script. Anyway, I'm still looking to improve and practice as much as I can, so if you have experience you're willing to share, thoughts or advice, or by some miracle you're Jen, I'd love to hear it. You can DM me on Discord or join my Discord server in the description. Thanks again and see you in the next one.